Salute, 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 salute. Peace and power, peace and power. I thank the universal truth and absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure the imperfect. I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. A divine mind knows, a divine mind shows. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. Peace and power to the people that struggle. Salute, salute, salute. What's good? What's going on? Salute, salute, Roach. What up? What up? Peace and power. Primo, Big Ma. Ah. V, what up, V? What up? What's going on? What's going on? Salute, salute. T, what up? Salute. Salute, salute. Uncle Murder, what up? What up? What up? Oh, yeah, we're in this body spot. Tisha, what's good? Story Jones. Hey, Miss Chocolate, what up, though? What up? Melody Warren. Yes, salute, Jeffrey. Salute, salute. Yes. As you know, I was on my little travels last week, so we didn't get to have book club. The South is something else. That's all I got to say. But we here. What up, V Gibb? V Gibb, give me a shout out, man. Give them a date, V Gibb, because they need to know. They need to know what day is today. We count down to the year V Gibson. What day is it? Sobriety. Let's holler. Holler. Ah, Tisha. And it is Tisha. It's her born day. It's her born day. 46 rotation around the sun. Y'all know what that means. Oh, sweet Jesus. Y'all know what that means. 46? Ooh, marinating. Frank Matthews. What up, what up? V Gibb. 9 months and 6 days. That's what we talking about. 281 days sober. 281 sober. Yes, everybody salute V Gibb for that. Hey, Weezy, what up? E, what up? What's poppin', Erie? What up? Salute, salute, salute. Tisha's officially a marinating cougar. Sweet. Everybody give Tish. May she enjoy, and I hope she enjoyed this born day. And as always, when you have another rotation around this planet, around this earth, around the sun, enjoy it and look back on that year as growth, right? As growth. You've grown. And I'm glad you chose to come through and celebrate with us. And also, come on, y'all. Make sure y'all give V Gibb his props. 9 months plus sober. We counting down to that year. You dig? Yes. Okay. Checking in Viz. What up, Diz? What up, Diz? Oh my goodness. What up, what up, what up? See Blaze, peace, peace. Naima, what's good? Oh yeah. So y'all know I was on the road. Very interesting things on the road. People need to know that we are all very much connected and all going through the struggle. We just in different geographical locations, but when you look and analyze exactly what's going on, we're very much together in this, and we have to at this point start recognizing that we are all in this collective struggle, so we can get behind one move, one tribe, and strategize how we can counteract what we are picking up from our enemies. All right? We definitely need to do that because I came through 6 states. Gas prices the same, food prices the same, microaggressions from races are the same. The struggles of black men and how they are lashing out against our women and children is the same. You dig? Story Jones, salute. Yeah, I was just in NC. I was just out there. I seen the same shit. Damn chicken prices, $4.99, $5.02 a pound. A pack of wings, $24 and all that shit. Same thing, you know? So we have to start communicating more. We have to begin to be more tolerant and understanding of each other more as we, you know, speak to the issues and how we can resolve these issues. This, yeah, this was the first time I've been out of town in about I believe it was last June, and before that it was like 2 years. So I'm not traveling as much as I used to. I will say I was very surprised at NC, North Carolina, and they have a large uptick in gun violence. I was very surprised by that, you know, because I know how people move in our communities down there and our living areas down there, and it wasn't as much years ago as it is now. It's very consistent and on time with how more densely populated cities and states are, you know, dealing with that issue. Salute, Ashley. Salute. Salute, King Detroit. What up? You dig? And it's you know, I always say it's disheartening, but for me it's not. I'm becoming very, 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 very keen to it and have a different feeling. Salute, Frank Matthews. Salute. Thank you very much for that. You dig? Thank you. Salute to you in your chat. You show real black man with MVP still exists. Definitely. We here. It's a lot of us here. Naima, hey, what's up? V, what up in Oakland? I see Oakland been kind of busy this week as well, you know? Divine being, salute, you know? And before we move into this, because I do have a lot that I want to discuss. I may do it on IG. I know we were supposed to do it outspoken tonight, but there's a real solid brother, right? If you down in the dirty or out west, you may say Darrell, right? If you from upper, you say Darrell, but it's Darrell Javon. And when I tell you he consistently gives, he gives to the point that I'm allowed to give people assessments without them having to come out of pocket. I can always reach back if it's somebody that reaches me in a dire crisis, because he contributes to me so much and so heavily that I'm able to make specific moves. So he doesn't join here as much as he does maybe Facebook or IG, you know. But when I tell you this brother gives, so I want, you know, everybody give him a heavy shout out. I'm also going to, hashtag his name in the body of this live so people will know exactly who I'm talking about, and they can probably look him up on social media. But this man consistently, boom. And y'all know how much I charge for assessments. You dig? I'm telling you. He puts it in there. And I'm able to do what I do because of it. So definitely big shout out to him. And I know he tries to do it on the low as much as possible, but he has to get acknowledged. Has to. Also have to, acknowledge. Yeah, Darrell. That's right. Darrell Javon. Definitely. He does his thing. Also, my moderators. Yes, just showing love to a real one. I know you doing it. Checking in vids online. Definitely. And my moderators. Because I keep telling y'all, I don't have moderators that I don't deal with on a regular basis. You understand? These is peoples. You dig? Straight up. So, they know the majority of my moves or where I'm at and how I'm, mixing up and stuff like that. So, and they on me consistently. Are you safe? Where you at? What's going on? You dig? What's going on? Making sure that the old guy is safe. Kelly Mills, yeah, keep building. Definitely. I'm trying to get enough to get a ticket for you to fly on up here. Oh my goodness, Kenny Mac, salute. What's good, Kenny Mac? What's good? How are y'all doing as a community in DC? I definitely seen the news. We had 4 people shot in DC, and then the gunman turned the gun on himself. So that's very tragic for that community. You understand? So if anybody needs to reach out in that area, Kenny, you can direct them to me for some type of trauma dialogue. All right? Yes, Erie County. Yes. But again, is there a webpage for the anger information? No. But what I will start doing, King, is speaking more of it every time I'm online. I will do that. You understand? Again, and a brother asked me today, oh, do you take insurance? And if you've been following me for a while, and most of the people have been, some are new to me, I am so anti-establishment. And I'm telling you, the only thing that I make sure that I do is get recertified in the field. So I'm always taking trainings. I don't care how much I already know about the field. I always look to see if there's new strategies, new techniques, new language. I'm always getting trained, right? Always. So I can take that information and get it to my people. That's what I'll do. But as far as incorporating and allowing these people to eat off me and setting yourself up as a business entity, I don't believe in it. I'm just going to be 1,000. I don't. I just don't do it. You're not going to eat off of me. If my people is paying me to provide the service, let me get that. Then I can do what I need to do for my people. And that money circulates like that. You understand? That's what business is. It is not going into business and allowing my growth to be added on to the growth of our enemy. I see no sense in it. And Ironically, this is just what happened with Dr. Umar. The shit I've been telling people about for a long time. I've been telling people about this man for about 7 years now. That he full of shit talking about a school. You understand? Once you utilize that language, that means you have to work with the governing institutions that are allowing you to label it a school. So it's not Pan-African, it's not B1, it's not all black, because then you're allowing these people to know where your structure is, what your structure is doing. You have to file paperwork to meet those codes. You have to do all of this. And those monies that you're gathering are taxable money. And it's dollars that's going back into the same system. It's bullshit. But I've lost comrades behind it. I've lost friends behind it. I've lost family members behind calling these cats out. Because you cannot serve two entities. You just can't. So if you're B1, if you're for your people, you do not fuck with them. You can't. It's impossible. It's a contradiction. So you may mean well. And a lot of them do. They mean well. But the very minute that you acknowledge the laws, the codes, the policies of your enemy, you devalue your own efforts. That's just what you do. That's 101. That's revolution 101. That's you can't acknowledge them because they are illegal. They are going against the codes of humanity and sovereignty and things like that. It's like, come on now. Come on. So again, schools, museums, all that shit, once you start labeling it that, you done. You done. So this is why I don't live in a contradiction. I will get certain things, but when it comes to giving them anything and having them acknowledge who I am and acknowledge what I am giving to my people and me having to recognize them as an authority to tell me what to do or how to do it, that's not happening. It's not happening. Salute, mask and gloves. It's not happening. No. Louis Skaggs, what up? That ain't happening. So no, I don't recognize business. Capitalism. Do you understand what that shit means? You have to acknowledge that. Big business, corporations, industry, they get as much as they can from the laborers, from the impoverished, from the workers in order to gain and continue on in these octopuses, right? These octopus tentacles of what capitalism becomes. How can you invest in that? How can you put back into that, yet claim that you want liberation? It's like giving a gun to your kidnapper. It's like handcuffing yourself. So either they don't know what they're doing or they're honestly ignorant to the process. You cannot be comfortable in your own oppression. You just can't. So when they, ask me to put certain things together, this is how I'm doing it. Yeah, that goes for Tariq. Even worse. Even worse. Because that's not even a school. That's just a structure. And of course, who's going to get the proceeds that they gain from people walking through a museum. When you set the museum up, if they ever do, right? The land, where they going to get the water from for the bathroom? Who's going to protect it? When the alarms go off, do the alarms go to the police department? If there's a fire, do those bells go to the fire station? So if you go into government entities, that means you have to deal with the government. If you setting up a bathroom, is there some place for you to eat in the museum? Are they selling food? Those things you have to go to those cities, boards, ordinances. You have to go to those states. You have to meet certain requirements that invalidates you being B1. Because again, we are not in those positions to do for ourselves. Therefore, they are lying or they're misguided, which causes me to question their intelligence. And if they know this already and not spitting it out, that means that they are lying to the people. It ain't hard. It's not rocket science. This shit is easy. It's simple. You cannot do it. The minute you do that, you invalidate everything that you claim to stand for. Salute to the 518. Right, exactly. Disney just got that shit. Listen, there is not one space on this corporation, on this land, that these people do not own or do not eat off of. Everything. How can we do for self in a country where we don't own the government? You're answering your own question. You either live completely and totally outside of the structure or you tear the structure down. Simple as that. What more do you want me to say? Oh, English. Without us getting our Bernadette, salute, without getting the video deaded or reported or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not, I don't have to put it out there like that. It's not nothing literal. You ask a question, you already know. That's all I'm doing is sparking. There's nothing that I say or tell you that you don't already know. This is the educational process of what it means to be liberators. You teach me, I teach you. In that process, we rename ourselves. And in renaming ourselves, we are able to point out our enemies. Simple as that. That's it. April Brown, what's up? Salute, Queen. It's that simple. But for us to stand on a soapbox and yell and scream, those days are over. That shit is over. We don't have to let people know what we're doing. We don't have to let people know what we're about. You understand? Get the job done. Stop having that ego make you grandstand and say, he's a leader. They're leaders. I'm a leader. And now you're in a position that all of the others were in. Did we not learn from Malcolm? Did we not learn from Huey? Did we not learn from Little Bobby? Did we not learn from Fred Hampton? Did we not learn from Khalid Muhammad or Martin Luther King? Did we not learn from these individuals? And if we didn't learn by their assassinations, have we not learned from Mumia? Have we not learned from Mutulu Secure? Have we not learned from Leonard Peltier, Asada? We learn. Therefore, we must adjust and re-strategize and move differently. Come on. Nobody's sitting up here and talking what we already know we have to do. When you want to have that literal conversation, meet me in the battlegrounds. Meet me on the streets, and we can speak specifics. That's what we do. That's what we have to do. That's what we must do. Or we risk another generation. And we already deep in this generation. This generation is fucked up. We risk the next 2 or 3 generations being a complete wash while everybody else is positioning quietly. The Asians, quietly. You understand? Europeans, quietly. The Spaniards, quietly, are making moves, putting themselves in positions. Stop dealing with us. They are in a space now where they are so angered of how our culture permeated the minds and the souls of their children that they have annihilated hip-hop as a culture. Don't deal with the niggas. Move away from them. This is what everyone across the globe is doing at this point. Because they're positioning themselves. And the only thing they're making sure that we're in a position in is in a position of servitude or incarceration. That's it. That's it. They don't love you. They'll fuck on you, yeah. They'll dance around you. They'll get high with you. They don't love you. They're putting themselves in a position to make sure that your babies, that your children, that your women are at their mercy to do whatever they want to do. Any of the spooky shit that you want to think about. Any of it. Whether it's rape, whether it's selling your organs, whether it's your labor, whether it's just straight out murdering you for fun, as if it's a snuff movie. Right? Any of that shit. Whatever they deem you to be, that is what they positioning themselves for. That is what they positioning themselves for. So while you dance and celebrate bullshit and take these bullshit trips and vacations and want to bicker about being included in their thing, they're making sure you're boxed out. They're making sure you're boxed out. So understand that. Bro Ham, salute. You understand that? Rizzo, what up? What up, Rizzo? E, what up, E? Hey, Little. Timmy Productions. Salute, salute. So you gotta understand where we at now with it. Yes, flying hot air balloons and the such. That's what they doing. Yvette, salute. Art King, what up? This is where we at. Renegade. We still reading. We here. We still here. Because by this time, everyone should be well in tune and entrenched and invigorated by the story. And ironically, somehow the video this week has went, semi viral in the conversation when Common actually went to Cuba and was supposed to have met with her, made an attempt to meet her. You understand? For what reasons, I don't know. But it is what it is. So we still on Asada, and we've been on it several weeks. Several weeks. So we all, if you didn't know who she was, we know now. If you forgot who she was and how important she is, you know now. You understand? And that's what we're about. We're not about average, yo, get the book. Yeah, Chicago, Kid Common. Yeah. Yeah, he went to go over there a few years back. Yeah. So if we you know, notice how other people move with their book clubs, they give everybody the book. Everybody go get the book and read it on their own and come back, and that's it. What are we doing? Where's the education? Where's the question and answer? Where's the solidity? How do we get it solid? Our firm, so when you move on to the next book, this is digested well till you identify with everything that is in it. And we identify with her. We look at the errors. We look at what was on point. And then we move. And we build a nation of her. And in that sense, we double down on our discipline to never forget. And then we can look back and see if we still, as a group, are going through the same thing. So we still on it. Matter of fact, we're on chapter 12. We're on chapter 12, right? 173 if you have the same book. Some may have the old version. Some may have a newer version, right? And we're going to get busy. Breaks my heart to say it, but I lean towards audio books these days. Well, a lot of people, I can't do audio books. I can, they annoy me, and I know a lot of people do it, and some people, especially people who are on the road, truckers, or who happen to have an occupation where they're sitting and they can concentrate, or maybe even some people like to rest with audio books and go to sleep with it playing in their ear. I don't have the patience for it. I'm doing 50 other things in a day. I just can't sit. And no, it's hard enough these days for me to sit and listen to an album. I'm just moving. But again, to each his own, and we all have different learning styles, right? If our comrade Brown Girl was in here, she could tell you that. We all have different learning styles. Some are visual learners, some are audio learners. You understand? Some are hands-on learners, right? That's a different process that we all have. You dig? So it is what it is. Boogeyman, salute, salute. Mandel, salute. What up, what up? Oh, Tamika Hicks is in the building. What up? Jewels, what up? You don't know why you can't send a super chat? Because you're supposed to be sending a cash app. Oh, stop getting YouTube rich. That's why you can't send it. Maybe now. Yeah. Cut it out. Don't change. People need to read and understand. They need to feel the energy from a book. I hear you, Yvette. I hear you. Chris M, what up? All right, so let's get busy tonight. You know? Chapter 12. When I entered community college, I fully intended to major in business administration and then graduate into a job in marketing or advertising. Instead, I took only one business course. History, psychology, and sociology interested me more than learning how to sell somebody something. I had truly lucked up. I had gone back to school at a time when struggle and activity were growing, when black consciousness and nationalism were on the upswing. I had also lucked up on the school. Manhattan Community College had a very high percentage of black and third world students, more than 50%, which is crazy because I went to BMCC too. Matter of fact, I went to BMCC twice. I went to BMCC when I first got out of the service, and went there for nursing. did a semester, full semester before I got into the entertainment industry real heavy. And that's where I met U-God from Wu-Tang. So yeah, we was in BMCC together. And then we went up in the mountains and was at special schools together. So BMCC was that school. I'll tell you right now, that was it was decent. It was different from Kingsborough. That's why I first went to nursing school when I got out of high school. And as soon as I got out of high school, I went straight to community college. I was in Kingsborough, went to the nursing program, but I was doing too much at that time. I was in the street. I was going to nursing school. I was boxing, Golden Gloves, and my trainer, my boxing trainer, had got me a job at UPS on 42nd Street. So it was just, I wasn't focused at all. And I was young. You told me I was only 17 at that time. So I was mixed up. So I didn't finish then. And oh yeah, BMCC was something else. You got to be focused in BMCC. Trust and believe. And I'm never focused around them women folk. That ain't gonna happen. Especially as a nursing student. Oh, no. I ain't concentrating on nothing but anatomy and physiology. Oh, yeah. But yeah, after I went into service and came home, I went to BMCC. And then after the first trip to the mountains, I went back to BMCC. You know, back to nursing school. But yeah, you gotta be super focused in BMCC. I hear about a lot of other colleges. What year was you at UPS? Oh man, we talking 86, 87. I didn't stay long because that was hard work. I was a mail sorter, and that was, you know, when they was doing part-time mail sorters, and you know, you down there loading and unloading the trucks, then you move to the line where you really sorting it out. And he was going, you know, push me up because he was already a supervisor and stuff, but can't do all that. I'm doing that, then taking the train back home, then boxing, getting up and training. That shit was a lot, you know? Mello, what up, what up? That was a lot. So, you know? But out of all of the community colleges, I heard York got some stuff too. They said York is no joke, but BMCC was something special. So yeah, you had to be focused. All right. Manhattan Community College had a very high percentage of Black and Third World students, more than 50%. The level of activity was high, both on campus and off. The Golden Drums, the Black organization on campus, whose president was a principal disciplined brother named Henry Jackson, was pushing for more Black studies courses, Black teachers, programs more responsive to the needs of Black students, and cultural awareness. They gave all kinds of programs on African dancing, drawing, and more. By word of mouth or by the bulletin board, we were turned on to concerts, plays, poetry readings, etc. The Last Poets, a group of young Black poets, knocked me out. I had always thought of poetry in a European sense, but the Last Poets spoke in African rhythms, chanted to the beat of African drums, and talked about revolution. When we'd leave their place on 125th Street, I think it was called the Blue Gorilla, we'd be excited and fired up. We'd be so excited and fired up, we didn't even notice the long subway ride home. If I was running myself ragged before I went back to school, now I was flying. I was learning and changing every day. Even my image of myself was changing, as well as my concept of beauty. Wow. One day a friend asked me why I didn't wear my hair in an afro. Natural. The thought had honestly never occurred to me. In those days, there weren't too many afros on the set, but the more I thought about it, the better it sounded. I had always hated frying my hair. Burnt ears, a smoky straightening, and the stink of your own hair burning. How many nights had I spent trying to sleep on curlers, bound with scarves that cut into my head like a tourniquet, afraid to go to the beach, afraid to walk in the rain, afraid to make passionate love on hot summer nights if I had to get back up to go to work in the morning, afraid my hair would go back. Back to where? Back to the devil or Africa? The permanent was even worse, trying to sit calmly while lie was eating its way into my brain. Clumps of hair falling out, the hair on your head feeling like someone else's. And then I became aware of a whole new generation of black women hiding under wigs, ashamed of their hair, if they had any left. It was sad and disgusting. At the time, my hair was conked, but the hairdresser said it was relaxed. To make it natural, I literally had to cut the conk off. I cut it myself and then stood under the shower for hours, melting the conk out. At last, my hair was free. On the subway the next day, people stared at me, but my friends at school were supportive and encouraging. People are right when they say it's not what you have on your head, but what you have in it. You can be a revolutionary thinking person and have your hair fried up. And you can have an afro and be a traitor to black people. But for me, how you dress and how you look have always reflected what you have to say about yourself. When you wear your hair a certain way, or when you wear a certain type of clothes, you are making a statement about yourself. When you go through all your life processing and abusing your hair so it will look like the hair of another race of people, then you are making a statement, and the statement is clear. I don't care if it's the curly, conk, latex locks or whatever, you're making a statement. Okay. Okay. Here's where it gets into a different dialogue space. Now, just like she said, you can be the staunchest revolutionary. I mean, one that's going to go all out and have your hair permed. Or you can be natural, naughty, dreaded, or whatever, and be a rat. That's proven. It's an absolute fact. As we seen when 45 was campaigning and eventually won and had all those melanated folks as supporters. Them two nappy ass natural sisters just wilding out. What is it, Diamond and Silk, whatever the hell her name is. They natural as hell. But the policies and what they were spitting was pure venom. So we have to be careful because image is everything. Everything. You understand? And when we get caught up in image, we can be infiltrated the way they did Panthers, U.S., United Slaves, easy. So you have to be mindful of images. You have to be mindful of what people speak, how they present themselves, the only way we are able to truly judge someone is based on the effectiveness of their work. And even at that time, we have to be cautious because, as we learned here and in the past, here with her and in the past with others, that they have sent individuals to look, present, talk, and put in necessary work in order to infiltrate and catch somebody on the back end. That's what drove a lot of them crazy, because they thought that these individuals were comrades. They showed them putting in work. They put in work with them. And these people were federal agents. So we have to be very cautious and be so on point and tight with specifics on how we move, how we implement, that you have no other choice but to truly be of us if you're amongst us. That the slightest shift in that will alarm you. They can put all our brothers in jail. Why can't they put the people who are doing rituals on this earth, burning forest fires and stomping animals and giving us all this processed food? Because they believe in that. You know? Miss Matthews was on page 174. So again, you know, I don't look at somebody like that, how they present themselves. We're in a different space and time where people have used their personal style, you know, more in an artistic frame to express who they are, right? Like, shit, Erykah Badu had fake dreads for years. You dig? Doesn't take away from her artistry or who she is or what she represents or how she moves. There's a lot, and a lot of these natural hairstyles are not 1,000, not right and exact. They're pieces as well. And they have made that aspect of how our women are presenting themselves in these conscious and woke states, and they made a complete industry out of that shit. A complete industry out of it. Literally. Overcharging for natural hairstyles. I've been in some of those shops. With the Bantu knots and all that. That's not even their hair. They're putting pieces on it. So it's the same weave or wig. It's just pieces. Now they just put it in the style, but it's not theirs. So are we going to critique that as well? You dig? The only thing we can be very critical of is how much money are you spending on it? What's your resource that you're spending on that? You understand? How does that take away from what you're doing? You get it? You know, so we have to not be so rigid and harsh when we're dealing with certain things. And yet we're real lazy and lackadaisical when it comes to things of importance. You dig? That's where we're at with it. You know, and that's what the journey is about. I had posed a question today to some of my people, because I was walking, doing my walk, you know, getting back to fight weight, if you want to say that, you know, or shape. And while I was walking, I was in a park, and the park leads out to the highway. So from the park and the highway, I'm walking under the bridge and the highway. There are people fishing, and the boats are passing by, and the airport is close, so we see the plane. So in one eye shot, I'm walking, I see a man riding a bike, I see someone fishing, I see the boat in the water, the cars are moving past, and the airplane is moving past. Who is on time is what I asked. Who is on time, and how can we affect each other in that same time? Can't do it in the same space. Because again, I'm giving you the picture. I'm walking on the path. Somebody's riding a bike on the path. Someone is in the water fishing. There's boats passing. There's cars moving. And then there's airplanes. But we're all existing in this space. For a given amount of time, we will all connect and not know each other. Who is on time? Now, this is the dilemma that we have as a people, because everybody's moving at a different space and in a different time. Most of the time, whether we're East Coast, down South, out West, you get me? How does one move as a unit and effectively change the course of where we need to be? This is how wars are fought. Because at some given point, a majority of us, or a nice amount, have to be moving at the same time, in the same pace, with the same goal. If we don't do that, we will never gain. We won't gain anything. You understand? That is the dynamics of war. That is the dynamics of war. So when you drop a bomb, boom, doesn't matter where any of those people are. The vibration, the explosion, the catastrophe, and the chaos affects all of them. All of them. At one time. So when they attack our community, they attack our thoughts. They attack our spirits. They attack so many of us at any given time or space that it affects everybody. That is why they make sure you see George Floyd's lynching. They make sure you see Trayvon Martin. They make sure you see these things because it affects you. It paralyzes you. And at that space, they got you. When they throw these things in the media, especially in the culture, and get a bunch of people talking about it. And in one platform, they're winning. So if I got 82 people here, and we're all talking about Asada, we're all talking about growth, we're all speaking about love and building and moving. That's 81 people right here in the same space and time, regardless of where we are actually at physically. We are causing a vibration that is moving towards liberation. So again, who is in the right time? You understand? That is what the struggle is always about. And when we fail to recognize us, each other as an entity, and not just put one who was selected or two who were selected to be in these spaces where they seem to have the attention of millions. Come on now. Come on now. Salute to the GOAT. Salute, GOAT. Houston in the house, H-Town. Fifth Ward. SA. I see you. You understand? This is how we win. And we got to be consistent with it. That's how you move. All right? It was a matter of simple statement for me. This is who I am, and this is how I like to look. This is what I think is beautiful. You can spend a lifetime discovering African-style hairdressers. There are many of them, and so many creative natural styles yet to be invented. For me, it was important not just because of how good it made me feel, but because of the world in which I lived. In a country that was trying to completely negate the image of black people, that constantly tells us we are nothing, our culture is nothing. I felt and still feel that we have got to constantly make positive statements about ourselves. Our desire to be free has got to manifest itself in everything we are and do. We have accepted too much of a negative lifestyle and a negative culture and have to consciously act to rid ourselves of that negative influence. Maybe in another time, when everybody is equal and free, it won't matter how anybody wears their hair or dresses or looks. Then there won't be any oppressors to mimic or avoid mimicking. But right now, I think it's important for us to look and feel like strong, proud black men and women who are looking toward Africa for guidance. Again, I'm going to pause again because we're in a different space now. We're in a different space now, and Africa is looking very different. Or representatives from the diaspora that are here are doing a whole lot of different things. Bleaching, TikTok ass shaking videos on tights, comedy vids and all that. So again, that's the difference between when the book was originally written and now. Because it changes, right? The oppression changes. Still oppression, but the dynamics, the phenomena that's created has to shift in order to maintain power and control. So if we were in the late 60s, early 70s, mid 70s to late 70s looking to Africa to reclaim who we are, the oppressor said, hold up, I got a trick for you. We're going to do some stuff over there and shift how they view themselves. All right? Because we already shifted the truth, because in all reality, you people were spread out throughout the entire planet. You're indigenous to every land mass on the globe. Every everywhere. So you don't only have to look to the diaspora, to the continent, to find out who you are, because you were indigenous here too. We just destroyed everything that was here and hid the rest and distorted the history. That's it. So now when we get them into bleaching and we get them into drill music and the youth killing themselves and mutilating the women under the false gods of certain Catholicism and Christianity and things like that, when we get them to mutilate the women and abuse the children, right? Again, and war within themselves, right? And then double down on the bleaching and the over sexualization of that. Hold on. How can we here look over to them? Ah, it gets deep. That's why your research has to be on point, but your common sense has to be even sharper, because what was is not always what it is. Huh? What was is not always what it is. I had many labels before I was general, before I was comrade, right? I was a stick-up kid. I was a savage. I was a lot of things that I am not now. So again, do we continue to look to the continent for answers that we may have right here? Gotta be sharp. Gotta be sharp. Huh? Come on. Gotta be sharp. Shall I continue? Okay. I wasn't in school but a hot minute when a brother in my math class told me about the golden drums. After a couple of meetings, I was hooked. They addressed me as sister. Were glad to see me at meetings, worried about how I was making out in school, and were really concerned about me as a person. The subject of one of my many lectures scheduled by the drums was about a slave who had plotted and planned and fought for his freedom right here in America. Until then, my only knowledge of history of Africans in America was about George Washington Carver making experiments with peanuts and about the Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman had always been my heroine, and she had symbolized everything that was black resistance for me. But it had never occurred to me that hundreds of black people had got together to fight for their freedom. The day I found out about Nat Turner, I was affected so strongly. It was physical. I was so souped up on adrenaline, I could barely contain myself. I tore through every book my mother had. Nowhere could I find the name Nat Turner. I had grown up believing the slaves hadn't fought back. I remember feeling ashamed when they talked about slavery in school. The teachers made it seem that black people had nothing to do with the official emancipation from slavery. White people had freed us. You couldn't catch me without a book in my hand after that. I read everything from J.A. Rogers to Julius Lester, from Sonia Sanchez to Haki Madhubuti, Don L. Lee. I saw plays by black playwrights like Amiri Baraka and Ed Bullins. It was amazing. A whole new world opened up to me. I was also meeting a lot of sisters and brothers whose level of consciousness was much higher than mine. Black people who had gained knowledge not only by reading but by participating in the struggle, who talked about Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Prosser, Sean Q, as well as Matt Turner, because they had gone out of their way to learn about our history and our struggle. Many of us have misconceptions about Black history in America. What we are taught in the public school system is usually inaccurate, distorted, and packed full of outright lies. Among the most common lies are that Lincoln freed the slaves, that the Civil War was fought to free the slaves, and that the history of Black people in America has consisted of slow but steady progress, that things have gotten better bit by bit. Belief in these myths can cause us to make serious mistakes in analyzing our current situation and in planning future action. Abraham Lincoln was in no way whatsoever a friend of Black people. He had little concern for our plight. In his famous reply to editor Horace Greeley in August 1862, he openly stated, "My paramount objective in this struggle is to save the Union, and is not either to save or destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do that." Lincoln was elected president in 1860. Immediately afterwards, South Carolina had a convention and unanimously voted to withdraw from the Union. Before he had even been inaugurated, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas followed suit. In his inaugural speech on March 4th, 1861, Lincoln said that slavery was legal under the Constitution and that he had no right and no intention to abolish slavery. He further promised to enforce the Fugitive Slave Act, which permitted Southern slave owners to reclaim their escaped slaves in northern states. With that law, what the law actually did was give any white man with a certificate of ownership the right to kidnap any free Black man, woman, or child in the North and force them into slavery. Because of this position, Lincoln received a great deal of criticism from Black abolitionists. Ford Douglass, a runaway slave who accompanied Frederick Douglass on his anti-slavery tours in the West, blasted Lincoln's position, saying, "In regard to the repeal of the fugitive slave law, Abraham Lincoln occupies the same position that the old Whig Party occupied in 1852. Here, then, is Abraham Lincoln in favor of carrying out that infamous fugitive slave law that not only strikes down the liberty of every Black man in the United States, but virtually the liberty of every white man as well. For under the law, there is not a man in this presence who might not be arrested today upon the simple testimony of one man, and after an ex parte trial, hurried off to slavery and to chains." Hold on, y'all. Fugitive slave law. Right? 1994 crime bill. Hold on. Hold on. Fugitive slave law. What? Crime bills. What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference? 1860, 1994. Come on now. Come on now. Some people in Congress was born when one Strong Thurman and them dudes was born in 1908, 1912, 1920. Was taught by their grandparents to have the same ideals when it comes to our people. And they've been in Washington all this time. And you think that black men and women that swear an oath to uphold the offices of the government is going to shift this shit for your black asses? Let me begin. Let me continue. On April 12, 1861, Southern troops fired on Fort Sumter, South Carolina, thus starting the Civil War. The response of the Northerners was electrifying. Millions who had been indifferent or lukewarm to the secession of the South jumped on the bandwagon to defend the Union. But the enthusiasm was short-lived. They already viewed black workers in the North as competitors for their jobs, and the white Northerners, for fear of losing even more jobs to the blacks, refused to enlist in sufficient numbers for the North to win the war. When the draft law was enacted, tens of thousands of white workers in New York City took to the streets and brutally beat and murdered every black person they could find. It has been estimated that between 400 and 1,000 blacks were killed as a result of the so-called New York draft law riots. Draft riots and the murder of blacks also took place in other northern cities. Lincoln had originally opposed blacks fighting in the Civil War, stating, "I admit that slavery is at the root of the rebellion, and at least it's sine qua non. I will also concede that emancipation would help us in Europe. I grant further that it would help somewhat at the North, though not so much, I fear, as you and those you represent imagine. And then, unquestionably, it would weaken the rebels by drawing off their laborers, which is of great importance. But I am not sure we could do much with the blacks. If we were to arm them, I fear that in a few weeks the arms would be in the hand of the rebels." History of the Negro Race in America, Volume 2, page 265. Northern whites were more than happy at the prospect of black people fighting in a war. A popular verse published in the newspapers of the day reflected the sentiment of many Northerners. And this is, right? This is what a verse was in there. Some say it is a burning shame to make the niggers fight, and that the trade of being killed belongs but to the white. But as for me, upon my soul, so liberal are we here, I'll let Sambo be murdered in place of myself on every day in the year. It was not until 1863 that Lincoln, in fact, issued the Emancipation Proclamation, but the document had very little immediate effect. It freed slaves only in the Confederate States. The slaves in the states loyal to the Union remained slaves. Lincoln clearly did not believe black people could live in the U.S. as equal citizens. In the Lincoln-Douglas debates, he stated, if all earthly power were given to me, I should not know what to do as to the existing institution. My first impulse would be to free all the slaves and send them to Liberia, to their own native land. But a moment's reflection would convince me that whatever of high hope there may be in this, in the long run, its sudden execution is impossible. What then? Free them all and keep them among us as underlings? It is quite certain that this betters their condition. I think I would not hold one in slavery at any rate, yet the point is not clear enough for me to denounce people upon. What next? Free them and make them politically and socially our equals? My own feelings will not admit of this, and if mine would, we well know that those of the great mass of whites will not. Oh. So do you get what this do you get the language here? Do you get that? Tell me you get it. Tell me you get the language. Tell me you understand how they are speaking about people, beings. But yet, as we were all taught, that this man was a great president. That this man, you fucking get a holiday. Because of him. This is how they speak of us. As if we had no say-so. As if we didn't exist. As if we weren't human. So how can you want this shit to still stand? How can you want to live your life and make investments in their companies and corporations so that one day you may be able to lease a home or send your kid to college so they can further work in the corporations that enslave you? How can you want to mingle with those who are on such high levels of representation of this corporation that they still eating off of that? How? How can you work with somebody that's going to tell you, be all right, brother and sister, We're making gains. How can you make gains when you're still a third citizen? At most, a secondary citizen. What kind of desire is that to want to remain second and third? To continue to see your people poisoned with drugs, bad food. Come on now. Come on, man. Anybody that tells you some shit like that, you should spit in their face. I don't care if they coming to you conscious in a dashiki. If they telling you you gotta wait for your justice, if you have to wait for your retribution, if you have to continue to live under these laws and policies and institutions in order to define who you are, spit in their goddamn face. It is what it is. It is what it is. So again, I'll conclude our book club for tonight. And, you know, we'll get back into that. We'll get into that. Again, I want to move because it's a little loose on IG. I don't think we're doing outspoken tonight, but I think I'm going to change my handle on IG a little bit. And get a little bit more engaging. Yeah, left off on 178. Right before, Lincoln was a firm believer in the massive exportation of black people anywhere. You dig what I'm saying? But that's what we'll come back with. Again, because liberation has to be first. You have to be in a space where no man has power or authority over you. There should be no institution. You have the institution. And that, I don't care what you believe in. But you cannot believe in self-servitude to any individuals. That's just nonsense. Animals don't do it. Nature doesn't do it. Nobody willingly submits their entire being to servitude, to subjugation, to second and third class citizenry, to a fucking wage. All right? Because you are priceless. I tell you all the time, you are priceless. There's nothing that man can create that equates to the value of just one of you. So again, I love my people. Don't believe in me. Believe in my belief in you. Salute, 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 salute. Thank everyone. Thank my moderators. Kelly, you gonna stop, Kelly. You gonna stop. The little pics and shit on Facebook. You gonna stop. I love my people. Trust and believe we will win. Salute, salute, salute.